What if I told you that tomorrow morning, Earth decided to spin on double speed? No warning, no slow build-up, just whoosh. A full rotation not in 24 hours, but in only 12. The sun would rise and set so quickly you'd think someone was messing with the clock. But this isn't just about losing sleep. It's about stronger winds, wild oceans, and maybe even the collapse of human civilization. Let's find out how everything we know would change. Right now, Earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation. That's what gives us day and night. The length of daylight shapes our sleep, our work schedules, our farming, even how animals behave. Everything on Earth is tuned to this rhythm, our bodies, our culture, even our holidays. But in this new scenario, Earth speeds up. A full day lasts 12 hours. That means 2 sunrises and 2 sunsets in a single day. It's like the entire planet has been thrown into fast-forward mode. Sounds exciting? Well, buckle up, because things are about to get wild. The most obvious change is the length of a day. Instead of 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night, we'd only get 6 hours each. That means by the time you're done with breakfast, the sun could already be heading down. By the time you're settling into bed, it's already morning again. Think about sleep. Most of us aim for 7 to 8 hours a night. But in a 12-hour day, sleeping 8 hours would eat up 2/3 of the entire cycle. You'd wake up and boom, the day's already almost over. To survive, humans might need to nap in short bursts, like cats. Society could split into 2 shifts. Half the population awake during the first day, the other half awake during the second. Basically, Earth would turn into the world's biggest tag team event. Now here's where physics kicks in. The faster Earth spins, the stronger the centrifugal force pushing things outward at the equator. Right now, this force makes you weigh just a tiny bit less at the equator than at the poles, about 0.5% lighter. But with Earth spinning twice as fast, that effect doubles. People near the equator would feel noticeably lighter. Imagine standing on a scale and seeing 5 to 10 pounds magically vanish. No diet, no gym, just fast Earth. Of course, don't celebrate yet, because what you lose in weight, you gain in terrifying weather. Earth's spin doesn't just affect us, it affects the oceans too. Faster spin means more bulging at the equator. Today, ocean water is already a little higher there, but doubling Earth's spin would push even more water outward. Sea levels at the equator could rise by dozens of feet, flooding coastal cities like Rio de Janeiro, Lagos, and Singapore. Meanwhile, near the poles, the opposite happens. The water gets pulled away, leaving behind newly exposed land. Imagine new stretches of coastline in Greenland or Antarctica, but don't get too excited, because the storms we're about to talk about would make these places almost unlivable. A faster Earth means faster moving air. The jet streams, those high-altitude rivers of wind that control weather, would go turbo. Storms would form more quickly, winds would blow harder, and hurricanes could become monsters. Some scientists estimate winds might double in strength. That's like turning a Category 3 hurricane into a Category 6. Coastal life would become a nightmare. Skyscrapers would sway. Planes would struggle to land. And in some regions, it might feel like living in front of a giant hairdryer 24/7. Okay, so Earth is now a cosmic fidget spinner. The faster spin doesn't just create stronger winds, it completely rewrites the weather map. Here's why. The Coriolis effect, which is basically how Earth's spin bends moving air, would double in strength. On today's Earth, it already makes hurricanes spin, gives jet streams their curves, and shapes climate zones. But double the spin, that means weather systems would go haywire. Instead of a few giant storms roaming the oceans, we'd have countless smaller ones forming like popcorn. Dozens of hurricanes would be spinning at the same time, darting across seas like angry hornets. Imagine waking up, checking the forecast, and seeing, today, 12 miniature hurricanes in your region. Good luck! And it's not just hurricanes. Rain patterns would shift. Some areas would be drenched non-stop, while others would dry out completely. Deserts could expand. Flood zones could appear where none existed. Farmers wouldn't even know where to plant anymore. The equator would get the worst of it. That's where centrifugal force is strongest and where the oceans would swell the most. Combine higher sea levels with monster storms, and equatorial cities could become uninhabitable. Places like Singapore, Nairobi, and Quito might have to be abandoned altogether. Meanwhile, areas near the poles, Canada, Siberia, Scandinavia, would suddenly look like prime real estate. They'd gain new coastlines as water drains away, and while the weather would still be rough, it wouldn't be as brutal as the equator's endless storms. Humanity might start migrating north and south, turning polar regions into crowded megacities. But let's step away from weather for a second and talk about daily life. How do you live on a planet with 12-hour days? Think about your morning routine. Normally, you wake up, maybe grab breakfast, commute, work, and then relax in the evening. But with a 12-hour rotation, by the time you finish your morning coffee, the sun might already be halfway down the sky. A full day would pass while you're still stuck in traffic. Society would have to invent a brand new time system. Instead of 24 hours, clocks might be divided into 12. Work shifts would shrink. School classes would be shorter. Factories, hospitals, airports, all would need double shifts just to keep up. And sleep. Forget the classic 8 hours. With nights lasting only 6, you'd either oversleep and miss half the cycle or learn to nap in smaller chunks. People might evolve into polyphasic sleepers, catching 2 or 3 naps every 12-hour period. Basically, everyone would be living like a college student during finals week, permanently. Now let's talk about food, because without it, nothing else matters. Crops depend on long daylight hours. Corn, wheat, and rice evolved under a 24-hour cycle, but now they'd only get 6 hours of sunlight before being plunged into 6 hours of darkness. That's like trying to grow a garden under a strobe light. Plants would grow slower, weaker, and yield less food. To survive, humans would need to step in with massive artificial lighting systems, especially in equatorial farms. Entire countries might build giant greenhouse networks powered by nuclear or solar energy just to feed their populations. Farming would shift indoors, turning agriculture into something closer to factory production, and animals wouldn't escape the chaos either. Cows, chickens, and other livestock depend on the natural rhythm of day and night. With short cycles, they'd be constantly stressed and confused, leading to less milk, fewer eggs, and weaker meat production. Imagine a world where a chicken lays 1 egg a week because it's too disoriented to function. And of course, all of this would crush the global economy. Transportation would be hit by constant storms. Farming would demand more technology than ever. Human workers would struggle to stay awake or coordinate with each other. Productivity would plummet. The stock market would open and close twice in what used to be a single day. Traders would burn out in weeks. Our entire way of life, built around the steady rhythm of 24-hour days, would collapse and need reinventing from scratch. Humans wouldn't be the only ones in trouble. Animals, plants, and even bacteria rely on the rhythm of Earth's day-night cycle. With Earth spinning twice as fast, the entire web of life would get scrambled. Take birds, for example. Many species migrate by tracking daylight hours. If the day-night cycle flips twice as fast, birds would get false signals and head south too early or return north too late. Huge flocks might find themselves starving mid-journey. Then there are nocturnal animals, owls, bats, raccoons. Right now, they enjoy a solid stretch of darkness to hunt and feed. But with only 6 hours of night, their window shrinks. Imagine bats frantically swooping around, trying to catch insects before dawn cuts them off. Even your pets wouldn't escape. Dogs and cats rely on light cues to know when to sleep, eat, or play. With the sun rising and setting twice in what used to be one day, pets could become restless, constantly barking or meowing at wrong times. You'd basically be living with a confused furball on permanent jet lag. Speaking of jet lag, let's zoom back to us. Humans have an internal system called the circadian rhythm, our natural body clock. It's set to roughly 24 hours. Hormones like melatonin rise at night to make us sleepy. Cortisol spikes in the morning to wake us up. Our bodies love that steady beat. Cut the day in half, and that rhythm falls apart. Melatonin wouldn't rise long enough before the sun popped back up. Cortisol would fire too often. The result? Constant fatigue. People would live in a fog, like being stuck on a red-eye flight forever. Over time, this could wreck our health. Studies show that when circadian rhythms are disrupted, like for night shift workers, risks of heart disease, diabetes, and depression shoot up. Imagine that stress applied to the entire human race. Lifespans could shrink, mental health could collapse, and society would be filled with billions of permanently exhausted people. Children would struggle in school, athletes wouldn't perform. Soldiers, doctors, and pilots would make mistakes. Our bodies simply aren't wired for a 12-hour world. Unless humanity evolves new biological clocks, survival would be ugly. But wait, it's not just our bodies. Our technology depends on Earth's stable rotation too. Satellites orbit the planet using carefully timed calculations. GPS systems sync with Earth's spin to tell you whether you're standing on Main Street or Maple Street. Double the rotation speed, and all those systems get confused. GPS would start spitting out errors. Planes and ships could get lost. Emergency services wouldn't know where you were. Even the internet depends on precise timing. Servers around the world sync with atomic clocks and Earth's rotation. Mess with that rhythm, and networks could crash. And then there's spaceflight. Launching rockets depends on Earth's spin to give a boost. At the equator, Earth's current rotation adds about 1,600 kilometers per hour of free speed to rockets. Double that, and rockets might blast off too fast, overshooting their orbits. Space programs would need to reinvent launch systems from scratch. Stack all this together: confused animals, exhausted humans, and broken technology. What do you get? Civilization on the edge. Think of cities trying to function. Traffic lights run on timers. Factories run on shifts. Even basic things like power grids and railways are scheduled around 24-hour days. With the clock cut in half, systems would constantly misfire. Imagine trains scheduled for afternoon, arriving in what feels like midnight. Imagine hospitals struggling to schedule surgeries when no one knows if they should sleep or work. Every part of daily life would feel unstable, unreliable, and exhausting. Humanity might not collapse instantly, but it would be like living in a world that's permanently out of sync. All right, we've talked about shorter days, monster storms, migrating oceans, broken farms, confused animals, and exhausted humans. But here's the real kicker. If Earth spun twice as fast, it might eventually stop being stable at all. The centrifugal force at the equator would get so strong that, if it increased just a bit more, Earth could literally start throwing its atmosphere and oceans into space. Picture giant jets of air and water blasting off the planet like steam from a boiling kettle. Luckily, at only double speed, Earth wouldn't explode yet, but it would be teetering on the edge of disaster. It's like strapping a turbo engine onto a car that was never designed for racing. The frame shakes, the tires burn, and eventually something breaks. Earth might hold together for now, but long-term, it would push our planet closer to instability. So let's put all the pieces together. If Earth rotated twice as fast as it does right now, days and nights shrink to only 6 hours each. Humanity can't sleep properly, forcing people to nap in shifts. Weather turns violent. Storms multiply, hurricanes become monsters, and jet streams whip around like wild snakes. Oceans bulge. Equatorial cities drown. Polar regions gain new coastlines. Mass migrations reshape human geography. Animals lose their rhythm. Birds migrate wrong. Bats and owls starve. Pets bark and meow at the wrong times. Human health collapses. Our circadian rhythms fall apart, leading to exhaustion, disease, and shorter lifespans. Technology stumbles. GPS glitches, internet timing collapses, spaceflight struggles to adapt. Society breaks down. Schedules, farming, trade, and infrastructure, all the systems we rely on, would need rebuilding from the ground up. In short, doubling Earth's rotation speed wouldn't just be inconvenient. It would be catastrophic. Civilization as we know it would fall apart, not overnight, but steadily, like a machine grinding itself to pieces. And yet, isn't it wild that all of this balance hangs on something as simple as Earth's 24-hour spin? We don't notice it. We don't feel it. But it quietly keeps everything in order. The oceans, the storms, our sleep, even the food on our tables. Change that spin just a little, and suddenly the planet we know feels alien. It's a reminder of how fragile life on Earth really is, and how much we depend on cosmic coincidences that make this world livable. So maybe the next time you complain about a long day at work, remember, a 24-hour day is actually a gift. A fast-spinning Earth would make you miss the slow, steady rhythm we take for granted. What if Earth rotated twice as fast? We'd be stuck in a storm-ridden, sleepless, jet-lagged nightmare. Humanity could survive with extreme technology, maybe underground cities, maybe giant domes and artificial lighting. But the truth is, we wouldn't be the same species anymore. Our evolution, our culture, our entire identity would change. The world we live in now, with its balanced rhythm of day and night, is more fragile than we think. And honestly, I'll take a boring old 24-hour spin any day. So now I want to hear from you. If Earth's days were only 12 hours long, what would you do differently? Would you nap more often, party twice as much, or just hide indoors until the storms calm down? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to see what wild survival plans you come up with. And hey, if you enjoyed this ride through science and imagination, make sure to like this video. Share it with a friend who loves crazy what-if scenarios, and subscribe so you don't miss the next adventure. Because on this channel, we don't just ask what is, we ask what if.